Right, tonight we're talking about taxing the rich, reforming the system, or breaking the market, right? Um, and now, of late, both sides of the candidates that's vying for the presidency of the United States, they have been introducing uh, their i their ideas going forward. And today I want to talk about a special tax. Okay, but before I move into it, I think it's best to introduce a bit so you can recall why is this topic important. So first of all, last week I discussed the growing US debt and how taxation is one way to address it. You know, regardless of party affiliation, every US president has continued to increase spending, and Kamala Harris is likely to follow the same pattern if she wins. So, to fund such spending, Harris supports President Joe Biden's Billionaire Minimum Tax as part of a broader strategy to target wealth inequality and generate new revenue streams, right? So, what is the Billionaire Minimum Tax? Now, the Billionaire Minimum Tax proposes a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains. Yes, you heard it right. Unrealized capital gains for individuals with a net worth of 100 million or more. Now, this policy aims to tax the increase in value of assets like stocks, real estate, and other investments annually, even if the assets have not been sold. Okay, that's why it's called unrealized capital gains. Now, under current laws, taxes are only applied when profits are realized from a sale. So, for example, I want to use Elon Musk because he's in the news and he's supporting Trump. So, if Elon Musk's Tesla shares grows from 120 billion to 150 billion over a year, he would be taxed on the 30 billion increase, regardless of whether he sold the shares. This shift represents a significant departure from the existing capital gains system. Now, the Biden administration estimates the policy could generate 503 billion in revenue from 2025 right up to 2034, helping fund social programs such as childcare support and first-time home buyers assistance. Now, why does Kamala Harris support it? Harris supports the billionaire minimum tax to align with the administration's agenda of making the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share. Now, according to a 2022 YOU-GOV survey, 57% of American believes billionaires are not contributing enough in taxes, which makes the proposal popular among many voters. In short, it's a populist decision. We understand a lot of those rich, they have been taking advantage. Like, for example, Donald Trump, if I'm not wrong, has declared that he hasn't been paying tax, but he has done it the legal way, of doing it. Now, that's why, and mainly the middle class and the low, those are the one that being taxed heavily, and this would be a populist decision if you really now force those that are really rich to start paying their taxes via this billionaire tax, right? So Harris and Biden argued that this additional revenue would reduce inequality and fund social spending programs, focusing on issues like childcare and affordable housing. Now, the policy reflects the broader democratic platform's aim at redistributing wealth to benefit middle and lower income Americans. Now, will it happen? This is the thing, okay? If she wins, will it happen? Now, the path to passing the billionaire minimum tax is uncertain. Despite public support, the proposal faces significant political obstacles. Republicans are opposed to the measure. That's for sure, making it unlikely to pass in a divided Congress. Right? So this, when I talk about Congress, it's the lower house as well as the upper house. Okay. So even when Democrats previously controlled the Congress, senators from the Democrats blocked similar tax proposals in 2021. On top of that, legal challenges could also arise since taxing unrealized gains would be unprecedented in the US. Now, Biden has included the billionaire minimum tax in his 2023, 2024, and 2025 fiscal year budgets, but none of these proposals have gained enough traction. This is not surprising. Even with potential Democratic control of Congress, passing the tax would remain challenging given the internal divisions within the party. Now, the most important thing, we cannot say that, it can never happen. What if it happens? So at the end of the day, we have to discuss what could happen if it passes. Now, if implemented, the billionaire minimum tax could have unintended consequences for the economy. First of all, we have market instability. Wealthy investors may sell off assets at the same time each year to cover tax obligations, leading to market volatility or even a crash. So when it comes to settling tax times, right, you would actually see that. So September would be even more volatile than before. Okay. So that is one particular situation that you can see. And not only that, it also discourages public listings because companies might avoid going public to evade tax complications, which could reduce investment opportunities for retail investors and stifle innovations. And for those that don't want to sell, their stocks, there's an issue about increased debt loads. All right, because investors could be forced to borrow against their assets to pay taxes, creating additional debt burdens. And one of the really, really worst thing that can happen is actually capital flight, whereby you see high net worth individuals may move their investments or even relocate their businesses to countries with lower tax burden, shrinking the US stock market. Now, this is not something that we want. That will reduce the liquidity, right? So at the end of the day, it's about feedback. Kamala has to listen to feedback, and none other than a billionaire who is actually backing her, and that person is Mark Cuban. So feedback by those affected if tax comes to fruition also proved the point. You have billionaire Mark Cuban reflected on his own experience during the internet boom, saying that although his net worth soared, he didn't have the cash on hand to cover such a tax, right? Similarly, hedge fund managers John Paulson has stated he would pull his money out of the US markets, turning to cash and gold to hedge against the tax risk. Now, these are not very, very kind comments, and you can see that people are not really happy for this to happen. And you don't think that this is just will forever be known as the billionaire minimum tax, because ultimately, while the tax may initially target only the top 0.01% of Americans, history suggests that tax policies often expand to impact broader groups over time, raising concerns about long-term economic stability. It's about people getting used to it. Once you get used to it and say, let's increase the target, and eventually everybody gets it. But this is not a good thing. Okay, it can crash stock markets, believe me. Okay, so conclusion and final insights. Although the billionaire minimum tax aligned with Harris' goals of addressing wealth inequality, its passage faces significant political and economic barriers, right? The policy impacts on market behavior, private investments, and innovation makes it further uncertain. And even if it were to pass, it would likely spark legal and economic challenges. You will see, they said, no, this is only for those holding 100 million or more, those people with 100 million or more. But don't forget, these are the people who are holding the majority of the stocks. These are people who holding majority of the asset class. Take, for example, Bitcoin. This will affect Bitcoin definitely, because majority of those billionaires, like the Winklevoss brothers, they have made billions, and easily this will be taxed. And how they have to start selling their Bitcoins to pay for this tax, right? The same thing will happen to others, people who actually hold a lot of stocks. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway is one. He seldom sells unless he needs to. And yeah, this could actually affect the bottom line. That's why, like I said, this thing can crash stock market. So let's see. There were news today that the Harris has started to come out and say, hey, if I get elected, I would not follow the exact policies like Biden did. And Biden has already said, Harris will chart her own path because previous two interviews, Harris has said that, she cannot come up with something that says that she's going to be a bit different than Biden. And Trump has taken these opportunities. The Republicans has also taken this opportunity to condemn and said, you vote for Harris, don't expect any changes. And Biden is already not popular, and Harris is going to continue with all this not that popular kind of decisions. And what's the point of voting for her? And ever since, voters have, started to think that said, hey, probably voting for Harris would not see that much changes anyway. Right now, both candidates are actually neck to neck. Okay, so with this, let's see, things could change, but if it doesn't, at least you know what could happen if this bill comes to fruition. With that, that's a report for today.